What's up, people? You are back. I am back. We are back together again for Three Things with JR. I'm your host, JR. This is my podcast. And thank you for joining me, for listening, for giving me your time and your attention, and for finding this podcast and listening to it. Thank you for doing that. Also, thank you in advance for all the friends you're going to tell about this podcast, because it's pretty cool. It's a great way to find out more about me, as well as the people I know and the people we talk to, and interesting facts and whatever. It's just fun. It sounds good now. I think the podcast sounds better than ever, and it is more fun than ever to do. I have really gotten into calling people without telling them why and surprising them with a podcast interview that they are the subject of. And I have continued to do that. I'd made several interviews with people last week, and tonight you will be hearing the second one that I did last week. The guy who you will be hearing tonight, his name is Charles Wyant. He is a Greene County, Virginia native. I lived in Greene County for many, many years. My parents purchased a piece of land in Green Acres, Virginia, which is a small subdivision in Greene County. And many years later, I lived there. And for many years, my ex-wife and I raised our family there. And at one point, our daughter wanted a horse, and we needed a place to keep the horse. And my ex-wife did some searching around and found a farm right there in Stanardsville, owned by the Wyant family. Charles Wyant, the son of the owners of the piece of land, and they have a barn, they have paddocks, they have horses. And my wife stopped in and just started talking to them, and sure enough, they were willing to let us keep Allison's horse Phoenix there, which is how I met Charles Wyant. He lived there, but did not own the place. His parents do, but he kind of ran the barn. He raised horses. He had a bunch of race horses, things like that. He was sort of slowly getting out of the horse business when we met him. He was a farrier, an expert level farrier. So if he needed horseshoes, he knew how to do that. He also knew how to work on cars. He was a carpenter. I became friends with Charles Wyant, and I consider him one of my best friends, even though we have not stayed in touch much here lately, since I don't live in Greene County anymore. None of my daughter, my ex-wife, nobody keeps a horse at his farm anymore. And I just don't see him much anymore. I don't pass by his house every day like I used to. I don't have a reason to stop in. And I kind of miss him. I miss stopping by his shop. Him and his parents have this huge shop where they work on race cars, they work on dump trucks and bulldozers and whatever else they've got going on in there. Charles Wyant got out of the farrier business and started up a tree landscaping type business. Tree work really is what his focus is. And he became an expert tree guy. He can climb trees and cut them down. He can stay on the ground and cut them down. And he knows more about more things. He's a true, what I would call a Renaissance man. Like whatever he's interested in, he can be really, really good at it because he puts his mind to it. He studies, he learns, he figures it out, and he does really well at it. For example, racing cars. He races cars that he has built. He's now racing a car that somebody else built. He does this on dirt tracks here in Central Virginia at Natural Bridge. He used to race at Waynesboro, and he's won the season several times. He is an impressive race car driver. I used to go with him, and I put cameras in his race car, and I made little YouTube videos about it. And this was back before I knew the rules, and I would take these videos, I would edit them together, and then I would just pick whatever song I wanted to go with it and make a fun video about it, put it on DVD and put it on YouTube. And man, it was great. I've gotten so many emails from YouTube that I have copyright infringements on my videos, which is not that big a deal since it just means I'm not going to get any money for those videos. I can't monetize them. The artist who actually made those songs gets to monetize them. So there's ads on those videos. They're kind of old. They're outdated. They don't look high def or anything. But man, they were fun to make. And I also played music with Charles Wyant. He and Bobby Sims and myself are the three founding members of Ice House Road. Charles Wyant had too many things going on, so he was the first to bow out of the band. But he played bass, Bobby played guitar and sang. And but it is because of Charles Wyant that I am still a musician playing music in a band today. We'll get into that a little bit here in our interview. But he's super smart. I do want to preface this by saying he, at the moment, is missing a few teeth, and you're going to hear kind of that sound of a person missing a few teeth. He's going through some dental work, and at one point he's talking about trees. And let me just clarify before you hear him say it. What he's saying is ash tree. Ash, A-S-H, ash tree. Just keep that in mind when you hear him talking about ash trees. So that's coming up here in a few minutes, my interview with Charles Wyant. This is me reconnecting with friends and people that I know that I haven't spoken to in forever because of either distance or the pandemic or geography or time or all of the above. And it was fun to talk to Charles again, get reacquainted, and hopefully it won't be so long before we talk again. So that's coming up just a few minutes. First, I want to give you 3 things that are on my mind before we get into 3 things that are on Charles's mind. So,
thing number 1.
Things come in threes, and it's a real thing. I'm not one to believe in anything supernatural, anything hocusy pocusy. I don't think there's a sixth sense. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I'm not superstitious at all. However, I have just noticed when things happen in threes, how things just. It's seriously a coincidence, but it doesn't always feel like it, and it's unexplainable how it can happen. For example, all 3 things tonight will come in threes. Thing number 1 here is that recently, I talked about this. I helped my daughter buy a car. I didn't help her monetarily. I just went with her to the dealership. She did all the work and bought a car. I was simply there to assist, and I barely did anything. She did the work and bought a car, which is awesome because she's driving a safe car. I did maybe help her get a little bit of a discount just by being a little pushy as a customer, and the dealer gave us a discount, so it was cool. But that was fun. So going to a dealership, helping her buy a car, watching all the paperwork get signed, etc. That was one time I did that recently. I just did it again literally an hour ago. I'm recording this on Monday, April 5th. I just got home from a car dealership where I was helping my girlfriend Kiki buy a new truck, which she will be taking delivery of here in the fairly near future. What I didn't buy it. I may have talked to them a little bit. This particular dealership, one of the sales guys wasn't treating Kiki with the respect she deserves, and Kiki let him know, and that guy was no longer her salesperson. There was some discounts involved, and it ended up Kiki got a truck, and I helped her along the way, but she did it. She did all of it, and tomorrow I will be assisting my friend, or going with my friend, to check out a motorcycle that's for sale that he very well might buy. Nothing set in stone there yet, but 3 things in 3 instances of me helping somebody I know closely, people that are close to me, purchase a new vehicle or used vehicle in 2 of the cases. So it's kind of crazy. I haven't spent much time in car dealerships in years. I bought myself a new car back in July, and now in short order, I'm 3 of my closest acquaintances, people I love and know, are buying vehicles, and I'm sort of peripherally part of it, and it's kind of cool. I enjoy that, and it's kind of fun to buy a car when you're not the one buying a car. You can just sort of be the spectator and help your friend, whoever it is, get as good a deal as possible. So there you go. Things come in threes, even though I don't believe in karmic anything, cosmic anything. Sometimes it just happens. And it's time for
Thing number 2.
And yet again, things come in threes. The other day, I finished George Washington, A Life, the book I have been listening to for months. Finally finished it. And what I did was I went back and I started listening to the podcast and the news again and getting caught up. And then I dove right back into a audiobook I had started last year called Frederick Douglas. It's a biography about Frederick Douglas, arguably one of the most famous black orators in American history, very famous as an abolitionist, it's a great book. I am thoroughly enjoying learning about Frederick Douglass and the fight against slavery back in the 1800s. But I'd gotten away from reading the book because I was all into reading the George Washington book. And so when I finished Washington, I went back to the Frederick Douglass book. And at the same time, I started watching a show that's on Showtime called The Good Lord Bird, which is a mostly true story about John Brown. I knew nothing about John Brown until I started watching this show. He's a historical character, lived at the same time as Frederick Douglass, and was good friends with Frederick Douglass. They were acquaintances for 12 years. And Frederick Douglass is portrayed in the show, The Good Lord Bird, by Daveed Diggs, one of my favorite actors from Hamilton. So now, Frederick Douglass, back in my life in the audiobook, Frederick Douglass on my TV screen on the show, The Good Lord Bird with John Brown. And then, by the way, the scene where Frederick Douglass and John Brown, it's in episode 2 where they're together, is crazy because at the exact time I started re-listening to the Frederick Douglass biography, it was that was the point in the book where the author is telling us about Frederick Douglass's relationship with John Brown. When John Brown went to Rochester, spent a couple nights there, literally that meeting was exactly what was portrayed in the show. So the timing of that was just kind of crazy. And then, just a few nights ago, I was trying to do a little research on a comedian I'm looking to book on a upcoming comedy show, and I was trying to find any examples of their performances. A lot of comedians put small videos of their sets, their comedy on YouTube, and that's a great way for me to check and make sure they're actually funny, right? Well, I couldn't find any videos of this particular comedian, but I found where they were a guest on a podcast, and the title or the subject of the podcast was John Brown Part 4, and they were exploring the life of John Brown based on a book, probably the same book that The Good Lord Bird is based on, and they were, yes, yet again, discussing John Brown and Frederick Douglass, and right at that point in their relationship, just crazy how all three of those things happened within less than 24 hours of each other. Frederick Douglass is in my life in a big way.
Thing number 3.
You know how on The Price is Right, if you go over the price, you lose, right? You have to be up to the price exactly or under to win. That's Price is Right rules, right? You can apply this to games you play with people and friends, and if it's Price is Right rules, everybody should know what that means. We were talking about that at work the other day in a training class. I train a bunch of people to do the job that we do here at Crutchfield. I'm at my house. This is not Crutchfield's podcast. This is my personal podcast. I train these people when I'm at work, and we were talking about the Price is Right rules, and somebody just piped up and said, "The price is wrong, bitch," which is a quote from the movie Happy Gilmore. And we all agreed that was funny. We liked the movie, etc. Like 2 days later, I'm playing disc golf with some people, which is a golf thing, right? And we got to referencing Happy Gilmore while out playing disc golf. And then once again, I heard it referenced on a podcast. It was like Happy Gilmore all over my life for about 2 days there. And as a result, I did have to go back and completely rewatch Happy Gilmore the other day. And it was every bit as funny as I remembered it being. So there you go. 3 things. First off, things come in threes, and it's fun to help other people buy cars. 2, Frederick Douglass. If you don't know who that is, or if you want to know more information, there's lots of stuff out there about him. Google it, find it, read a book, listen to a book, watch TV shows, listen to podcasts. You will learn about Frederick Douglass. He is very important. You should know about him. And thing number 3, Price is Right rules. Happy Gilmore, The Price is Wrong, bitch. So there you go. Those are my 3 things. We're going to take a quick break. We will be right back, and we will be joined by none other than Charles Wyant. How about some music?
Wake up, wake up, wake up. There's no time for play. Get up, get up, get up. It's a brand new day.
Hey, dude.
You rang.
What's going on?
Not much, dude. How are you?
All right. You?
Fantastic.
Nice.
It was nice to get your text the other day about that Sturgill Simpson cover.
Right.
That
I saw, like, anytime I hear a great song like that, I instantly revert back to you. Like,
oh man, dude, that makes me so happy that the good music makes you think of me.
right? Yeah.
Every time I think about how I got started playing music, I think of you. So
Right.
you and I had a conversation one night outside of your barn, and you're like, "Hey, my friend Bobby and I are going to get together and play some music, and you should come over. You play the drums." And I was like,
Right.
"Oh man, I gotta like I've never played in front of other people. I've only played in my basement." And the thought of like carrying the drums over to somebody else's house, I don't even know how you do that. And you're like, no, we got drums. I'm like, oh, you
Right.
have drums? All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And that was how it started. And
Nice.
oh my God, that was great. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you have been paying any attention to my Facebook posts about my podcast.
I haven't.
Okay, well, I do a podcast.
Okay.
You know, I had been doing stand-up comedy for a couple years now, but I haven't really done much of that since COVID and everything.
Right.
So I started a podcast, so I've got a way to, talk to people about whatever stupid stuff I'm thinking about. And one of the things I've been doing the last couple podcasts is just literally calling people that I know that I haven't talked to in a while to get caught up and record the conversation and make that episode of my show.
Oh, Lord.
So I am recording this, but
All right.
I'm not going to put it out unless you're cool with it. But I figured let's just talk, chat, get caught up, and
Yeah.
I think it might be interesting for people. So,
All right. Could have waited till I had my teeth. I mean,
well,
you
I
know.
mean, this isn't going to be video for anybody else. This is just so we can actually see each other.
Oh, okay.
It's just
All right.
just an audio podcast. What?
I figured you had a shit-eating grin on your face as soon as I answered.
Plus, I got this fancy mic and headphones set up. Something's going
Right.
on, right?
Yeah.
How'd you lose your teeth, man?
It was a tooth that was bad and just whatever, and ended up trading it for a tree job to my dentist. And with COVID and everything, I had to get a bone implant, and
Oh, wow.
waiting on the actual implant now. But
Yeah. So, what have you been doing? Is it just trees after trees after trees? Has it been
trees after trees after trees.
been pretty busy?
Yeah, if you own an ash tree right now, like white ash, green ash, any kind of ash tree, and it's untreated, it's dead. Like, it's a emerald ash borer killing them all.
Oh.
So we actually just got out of class here a week or so ago, went and been doing online due to COVID. But I've got to get so many CEUs to keep up with my arborist certifications, and that's the forestry department's like planning on just, if you got an ash tree, take it down or treat it, which is incredibly expensive. And they're waiting, hopefully the bug will die off, and then try to reintroduce the ash trees again in like 20 years.
Gotcha.
So
Wow.
those trees alone have been keeping us busy. Like, but
And it's not because they're obviously coming down, but just because they are going to come down at some point, and better to get ahead of it.
Yeah, if you can look at if you see any, I wish I had one around here to show you, but like the first stage of it is, they call it blonding. So like trees should have nice gray, deep gray bark, but the tree looks blonde, and that the bug gets right underneath the bark, like in the xylem and everything, cambrium, that transports water, and they shut it off with their little tunnels, and that part starts dying, and it turns literally blonde. So.
And are you the guy who's climbing up into the trees and cutting stuff out? Are you still that guy, or do you have other people doing that stuff?
I'm still pretty comfortable up to 60 feet, but we've been hiring a guy. He's a great guy. His name's William Belair, and he's the man. I mean, he helps us out on a part-time basis as needed, and he does his own gig too. But
yeah,
just salt of the earth, good guy, and probably 120 pounds versus 220.
Trying to climb that tree, a little easier for him.
Yeah.
I had my daughter Allison and my granddaughter Aaliyah over a couple weeks ago, and I was, it was later in the evening. We were hoping she would fall asleep, right? So I had YouTube on the TV. And I was like, Aaliyah, tell me what would you like to watch a video about? Anything at all, because I can find a video about that. No problem. With YouTube, you can find anything. She said, I want to see a video about trees.
Oh, nice.
So I looked up trees, and what we ended up watching was a bunch of really bad tree people, not actual tree, like just homeowners doing a horrible job of cutting their own trees down and falling into their house, crushing their cars. I mean, it was bad. But the coolest one we saw was a dude that actually knew what he was doing, and he was climbing this tree. He must have been what seemed like 150 feet up in the air. And it was a real professional job. I mean, he had like a GoPro on his helmet, small little chainsaw. They were closing traffic on this street below him, so it was a real legit operation. Yeah. And I mean, I think we watched that for 20 minutes of him climbing up, cutting all the limbs off, cutting the to get up to the top, and then just cutting the tree down in stages, and just watching these things fall down next to the road. They'd close.
Right.
He'd stop for a few minutes and talk to the camera while the cars would drive by. Then they would close it down again. He'd cut some more. I mean, it was mesmerizing watching that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like, it's getting high tech. I mean, like so like right now we obviously wear hard hats, and they kind of look like a rock climbing hard hat. Like Rock Exotica, some of those companies, but we've got comms devices in them. So we've got speakers that come around, and you can be standing right next to the chipper, or I'll take phone calls all the time when I'm in a tree, and you can talk to them with the chainsaw running.
What?
It's got the same noise canceling capabilities as like what helicopter pilots. But you can Bluetooth music. You can share the music between your employees.
That sounds like
it's insane.
Similar to systems they have for like motorcycle helmets and stuff.
It's the same thing. That's how it started. They said.
Yeah.
We used the Senna 30s, but I guess Senna was the company that like made it for motorcycle guys, and then they turned it into tree guys, and the only difference is we use what they call like mesh technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can actually mess with other name brands. So like when William's helping us, he don't have the same number as us, but we can mesh with him. And
that's cool. Yeah. So you're not locked into the one brand of equipment and different people from
if
different
you're doing
jobs.
A crane job or something like that, you can communicate to the crane operator instead of having to rely on hand signals. Yeah. So how old's that grandbaby now?
She's going to be 3 in June, so just a couple more months.
Holy cow.
Yeah, man. And she just gets more and more adorable every single time I see her.
Is she getting opinions yet?
A little bit here and there. She's still really timid and kind of shy, at least most of the time. But we took her to the zoo not too long ago, and we asked her what she wanted to see at the zoo, and she said, "I want to see sheep." And we're like, I don't know if they're going to have a bunch of sheep at the zoo. But sure enough, we got to the metro area Richmond Zoo, and the first thing before you even get into the zoo, a big pen full of sheep and goats and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like, I had you called it, that place has everything: monkeys, giraffes. We got to feed the giraffes. Man, it was great. She loved that. And, yeah. So
that's awesome.
How about your kids, man? You got
two boys.
Are they both going to school yet, or what?
Tucker will start in the spring due to his birthday.
Okay.
So, Chase is in first grade, and yeah, they're all boys into mischief, and
Well, they're your.
probably give me a little bit of taste of my own
I was going to
medicine.
say they're your boys, so of course they are. Are they going to Greene County Public Schools or UCA or where homeschooling? What are you
UCA.
doing? Yeah, UCA.
Yeah.
That's where you went, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's where you went, right?
I actually went to Charlottesville.
Oh, okay.
It was a school called Northside, but they
Gotcha.
shut down. I graduated in 2000, and I think they shut down in like 02 or something.
Yeah.
So,
And I think the last time I actually saw you was when I was playing drums at your church.
yeah, probably.
How has church been going? Like, have you guys started having in-person services again? Do you need
so
a
we've
drummer?
Been doing in person. A lot of it is outside, just for social distancing.
Yeah.
And back when it was real cold, it was 2 services inside because it was enough people that you couldn't do everything, all the guidelines. And yeah, still playing guitar with the worship team, and they got a heck of a violin player, and it's pretty cool.
So did you find another drummer, or are you just guys playing without a drummer? Do you need a drummer? What's that situation?
I know,
like?
right? So the guy that is like kind of the leader of the worship team, he plays drums. So
Gotcha. So
if it wasn't for that, I'd be done hit you up.
I was gonna say, so once again, I've been replaced as a drummer.
Not by choice.
Right.
Are y'all still playing music?
Yeah. So not really with Bobby much anymore. He's kind of doing his own thing. We've continued to tell him as soon as you're ready to play music on a regular basis and commit and schedule booking gigs and all that stuff. You need to just let us know and we'll make it happen. But until then, so it's Gary and me and Brian McKenzie are so we 3 are the band Big. And we've recorded an album. We just recorded 2 more songs. We've got a couple gigs lined up, but we haven't been able to do much serious here, obviously, in the last year or so. But yeah, we've still got it going on.
So this will crack you up. Back in the winter, we've got it's a daycare out there in Charlottesville that we do the snow removal on.
Yeah.
And they literally cannot close. Like, it's where all the surgeons' kids and VIPs at UVA go to. Their kids go. And I was headed out there at like 3 o'clock in the morning to put salt down. And I stopped for a cup of coffee at that new station right across from Engic. And I ran into
7-Eleven there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ran into Dewey. You remember him?
I saw Dewey at Walmart like 2 weeks ago.
Right?
Yes. You cannot forget Dewey Hodge.
No.
Oh my God! But you saw
You
him.
should give him a call sometime.
I guess I don't know if I'm ashamed to admit it, but when I saw him in Walmart, I turned down an aisle I did not need to go down really quickly just to avoid having a conversation with him in the middle of Walmart. But
I swear, like, he said, "How you doing, man? Hey, you been good? You been good? Give me a call sometime. Here, let me, like, just off the charts, like, same Dewey."
Yeah.
Like, I think he asked me for my phone number and, like, said he'd give me a piece of paper or something. Like, total backwards.
I had seen he was working with like West Bagoon and the rodeo people there for a while. Like, I know he was in with them, but I don't know what all he's doing these days. I have no idea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. Like, I'm so out of that loop anymore.
Yeah, so are we. We haven't played music at a rodeo here in a couple years now. It's kind of a we kind of missed that. Kinda.
Yeah.
That was always.
I'm trying to back up in my shed here. The wind is getting awful.
Yeah, dude.
Is it bad?
It's pretty bad here. Like, it's stopped in the last 20 minutes or so, but it was blowing so hard I almost couldn't call people just because it was like blowing in the windows and the doors and whistling all through my room and everything.
Right. Heck yeah.
Are you planning on racing this season? Is that still a thing?
So we won the championship at Natural Bridge 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we did very racing last year. And I said I wasn't doing any racing this year, like none. And I guess a month ago, we got a phone call. This woman, well, a guy called me that I knew well. He said, "Hey, you want to drive my second car?" And I'm like, "Man, that's a deal. Like, he's got great equipment. It's a late ride, nice stuff." And I talked it over with everybody, Maggie, the kids, everyone. Yeah, do it. And so, I mean, she owns a car. She owns a trailer. Like, she pays all the bills. I've got to work on it a little bit and drive. Like,
yeah. So
I guess we'll be running at Natural Bridge all year. And
okay. And you said that's a late model?
yeah, it's a crate lake model. So it's not like the full-fledged model, it's like one step down from that.
Okay. So you're driving this car and doing the work on it, or is it just the driving, or what?
We're driving it and doing some work on it. Like, that was one of the deals that I told her. Like, I said, if I drive it, like, the car's got to come live at their shop where it's close enough for me to check over everything on a weekly basis. And so,
yeah,
the car's here now. It's nice. I mean, I can't believe it. Like,
what do you like best about racing? The actual driving or working on the car?
The driving. That's ever how long the race is, just say it's 30 laps long. That's 30 laps that your head ain't worried about your job. It's not worried about who you forgot to call or what bills due next week, or like, it's total freedom, you against the racetrack. Like, it's a blast. It's a rush. I mean, to this day, I guess we've been doing this since 2008, and every time you dive down in that first corner after taking the green flag, I still just get goosebumps on my arms and that knotted up adrenaline in your stomach. Like, it never gets old.
Do you feel just as competitive today as you did in the beginning? Like, as getting older, getting a family, having the kids and all that, does that change your approach at all, or are you still
It changed everything for a couple of years, but we got lucky. I mean, we've got a couple good people, smart people behind us now that we didn't have, and honestly, they make all the difference. I mean, instead of having to go out and spend half of a season trying to nail down a setup or something like that, they come with enough knowledge. The car's ready and fast. Yeah. Right off the start. So.
And on the racetrack itself, are you taking the same chances you've always taken, or has that changed for you at all?
No, not at all. If there's a hole, if the nose will fit, the rest will go through.
There you go.
The day that I back out of it for like sanity of saving the car, that's the day I quit.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't do it safely after that, right? Because you're probably the problem at that point.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't want to keep you much longer. For my podcast is called 3 Things with JR, and on each episode I share 3 things that are on my mind. And when I call people out of the blue, I put them on the spot and I ask them for 3 things. Here they are. We're going to see if you can come up with something quick. And I know you can. So thing number 1, tell me something deep, something thoughtful, something meaningful, just something deep that you've been thinking about. It can be literally anything you want.
So we've been trying to hire help lately, and it's been awful. I mean, I don't know what all is going on, but I mean, no one wants a job in tree work. And I was reading something by C.S. Lewis, I think, the other day, and it's one phrase, and it said, "No batch of bad eggs will ever make a good omelet." I don't know anything deep, but that sounds like the deepest thing I know.
No batch of bad eggs will ever make a good omelet.
That's right.
That's going to be the title of this episode. That's pretty great. That's good. So I guess the meaning of that is don't settle for help that's not going to get the job done, right? Because
pretty much. I mean we're trying to tighten up on the interviews and everything like that, but
don't lower your standards just to get help.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, thing number 2. Tell me something that's inspiring you right now. It could be anything. It could be music, art, movies, a TV show, a book, anything at all. What's inspiring you right now?
So music's always a big one. I mean, I'm at the shop at 6:30 drinking coffee. The coffee helps, but you turn on some good kicking music, and 20 or 30 minutes, you're ready to start.
Any song or band or artist in particular?
So going back, man, like I'm a product of the 90s. It bleeds through every day of my life. I mean, yeah.
Got it. So
80s and 90s hair bands.
I was gonna say Def Leppard is what it sounds like you're getting to.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah! Right on. Cool. All right. Thing number 3. It's the easiest of the 3. Just tell me something stupid, man. Something dumb, something stupid, something you've done. You want to admit on camera. Something. Just a dumb thought you've had. Anything that's going to make me chuckle.
Oh man. Well, the funniest thing I've seen in the last couple of days, and maybe you can tag him in the podcast, is I took the boys down to the pond the other day fishing, and Randall comes down there drunk as anything, and he didn't even make it back to the house. He passed out in the yard and was still there at like 10:30 when I went to bed.
Wow. So some things
That's
do
about
not
the funniest
change.
and dumbest thing I've seen lately.
Some things do not change.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thank you so much for talking to me. You cool with all of this being on a podcast?
Sure.
Excellent. I'll tag you when I post this on Tuesday so you'll know that it's out. You can go listen to it.
Right.
If you want to tell other people about it, you can post out and share it out, whatever, and just let other people know.
Right.
And dude, I just thanks for taking my call. Thanks for talking, and let's not let it go so long before we catch up again.
Agreed.
Right on,
man.
Charles.
Be good. Yep.
Later, dude.
All right.
Bye. All right, that was my interview with Charles Wyant. If you're still listening, first off, thank you for listening all the way through. I think you got a lot out of that. I know I did. It was really fun getting reconnected with Charles again. I don't know when, if ever, we'll get to play music together again. He doesn't have a drum set all set up for me, ready and waiting. He's got another drummer at church. And, it would be fun to get together and play music with him because he, again, is one of the reasons I am a drummer and musician and play music with other people today. If it weren't for him, I don't know that it ever would have happened. So I lead a better life because I play music and feel better on a regular basis, and Charles Wyant is a big reason for that. He is one of my favorite people. He has told me I'm one of his favorite people, and the feeling is mutual, obviously. Next week, we will be back with another instance of me reconnecting with old friends. This one goes all the way back to me being 10 years old and meeting my friend who lived across the street, John Worrell. If you know John Worrell from George Mason High School, from Falls Church City, he and I were pretty close friends there for about 5 years when we lived on the same street. We slowly grew apart, and one time we saw each other in Charlottesville. We didn't even know each other lived anywhere near Charlottesville, and that was a couple years after high school, and then literally we haven't seen each other since, except for on Facebook. We haven't spoken since, except for on Facebook, and now we have reconnected, and you will get to hear all of that. He is one of the most interesting people I have reconnected with in doing this, and one of the most interesting people I know. He's got a lot to say, and we're going to hear it all next week on 3 Things with JR. Thank you so much for listening. I am out. Here's the end of Brand New Day. We'll catch you next week.
It's a brand new day. It's a brand new